going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and today we are reacting. Up first right now, Philadelphia is on the clock in the second round, and this has not been a very fun second round. I know, first world franchise front office problems. I have no right to complain as a Philadelphia Eagle fan the way that we've drafted the last 4 years, but when you look at the second round in particular, this has been a round that Philly has been aggressive in. We traded up last year to get Cooper DeJean. I thought there was a lot of talent that fit Philadelphia Eagles' needs, guys they brought in for top 30 visits, and they have just sat on their hands and waited all the way to pick 32, which they could trade it. This part of the video might not even make the final cut, because I think, honestly, the fact that they weren't aggressive, maybe they're hoping that someone wants to come up. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers want to come up and get Shedeur Sanders. Oh, the pick is in! Okay, we're going to react to it just 1 second here. Has not been my favorite second round, dude. So many guys I like. Mason Taylor. Dallas Cowboys got Donovan Ezuraku, the edge rusher from Boston College, which I was a big fan of. Mike Green just went to Baltimore. Not necessarily going to comment that it seemed like there was a podcast with Howie Roseman where he's like, there's just certain things that they can't get on, even if the player's good. And Mike Green probably did that. I mean, maybe there was a chance that old Big Dom did the homework and said, you know, worth the risk. He ends up going to the Baltimore Ravens, which is a very surprising pick considering what is going on with Justin Tucker right now. Terrence Ferguson, tight end from Oregon, would have loved it, because word on the street right now is the Philadelphia Eagles are considering shopping, and it feels like that's kind of what happened right now with Dallas Goedert. He's on the way out. They were very non-committal throughout all the interviews. So when you look at this board of guys that are left, I mean, Trey Amos just went to the Commander. Like, very annoying, man, that, like, all the top guys that I want. Tate Ratledge went. We have Darius Alexander from Toledo. Would be wild if we went back-to-back Toledo players. He's also going to be 25 years old as a rookie. He would stylistically be the Milton Williams replacement. Milton Williams is 26. So, I mean, I guess if you're looking at it from a win-now standpoint, Alexander's probably as good as he's going to get and could contribute as a rookie alongside Ajomo. Siobhan Ravel would be interesting. I think almost any corner selection, whether I like him or not, you kind of have to trust Vic at this stage. So Ravel seems height, weight, speed coming off injury, so you're buying the dip there a little bit. Darian Porter's a freak of nature athlete. Philly showed interest to Noel Williams, who I think had the most picks in college football last year. Jacob Paris reminds me of Avonte Maddox a little bit. That could be a selection. At safety, I'd love Kevin Winston. I think Kevin Winston and Andrew Mukuba would be my two safety targets if that's really where we want to go. But I think at this point, I like Sidney Brown more than the safeties that are available. It was really kind of Malachi Starks or bust. You look at the edge rushers, I'd say Braden Swinson. He might be my number one overall guy right now on the board. Braden Swinson at pass rush if we want to get that. Don't know for sure how the Philadelphia Eagles want to utilize Jihad Campbell. Like we all know, like linebacker, hybrid type player. If they do view him more as an edge rusher, I don't know. It seems like they're going to use him as a utility guy. So if they still want to go pass rush, I like Braden Swinson. Josiah Stewart's tape's really good. Didn't test like a freak of nature athlete. Landon Jackson might have an athletic pedigree they like. Ingram Dawkins to fit the athletic Georgia Bulldog quota. Again, on the interior, I mean, Alexander makes sense. I like Josh Farmer. He was better 2 years ago at Florida State. Ty Robinson's a big-time athlete. High RAS player. If they want to look at competition at guard, Philly showed interest in Mbao. That'd kind of be the wet fart ho-hum type pick of, like, we really couldn't get something a little more exciting than that. But any lineman pick, very similar to kind of anyone on defense. Any lineman or defensive pick at this point, you have to trust Jeff Stoutland. You have to trust Vic Fangio that they're making the right call. If you want to look at tackle, they showed interest at Charles Grant. They could view him as a guy that challenges for that right guard spot. I think if you go tackle for Philadelphia, it has to be someone that enters that competition with Tyler Steen and Kenyon Green. To open that camp. You have Gunnar Helm here. You have Harold Fannin. He put up video game numbers at Bowling Green. We have the Bowling Green head coach on our staff. I don't think he's a great replacement for Dallas Goedert, but proven production. Let's see here. Big Bo Allen's out there.
I'm honored to be here representing the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles tonight. Go Birds!
Go Birds!
With the 64th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft,
Get Shedeur, quarterback factory.
Eagles select Andrew Mukuba, defensive back, Texas.
That'll do. Andrew Mukuba. I made a tweet rating my players, my short list. He was on said short list. I thought when you watched Texas play last season, he was the best player on that Texas secondary. Jahdae Barron went in the first round of the Denver Broncos. I thought Mukuba's tape stand up. I don't hate that one bit. Now, it is interesting how that's going to work with Sidney Brown, but I've kind of talked throughout this whole process that I feel like Vic Fangio hates the rogueness of Sidney Brown, how all or nothing, boom or bust he is in play. And Mukuba, similar, but maybe a little more pulled back. That's a good pick, man. That's been one of my dudes for a minute. Here's my big board before the Eagles. Couple picks before the Eagles pick. Trey Amos off the board. Tate Ratledge off the board. Shamar Turner was off the board. Mike Green off the board at this point. So outside of Braden Swinson, which I think there's a chance that the Eagles right now value the edge rushers we have in the building more than the fan base does. I think they might think they have something on a buy low with Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche. Like those two guys with Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith, and how you're going to utilize potentially Jihad Campbell as a pass rusher. Maybe they're not as concerned with the pass rush as we kind of perceive them to be. Swinson's still on the board in the third round. He's now moving up to number 1. But technically, if I was reordering this list for the Eagles pick, Mukuba was my second player on the board. Thank you very much, Howie Roseman. Now with Mukuba, though, interesting RAS score, the relative athletic score, Philadelphia, right up there with the Colts as the team that values athletes. Mukuba didn't do a full test, but he graded out as a 5.12. Now, a lot of that hurting the rating was size grade. 5'11", 186 is not particularly great. Ran a 4.45. His speed was solid. Agility, not so much. Actually tested pretty bad with his shuttle and 3-cone time. So, kind of surprising. And this was always kind of the case, because when you looked at the Philadelphia Eagles and their top 30 visits this year, I made a point of this where it's they're not bringing in a lot of guys that are blue chip athletes, which has kind of been the mantra of how this team's been built. But I think in Mukuba's case, part 1, if Vic likes him, feel pretty good about it at the end of the day. I liked him. I love watching him at Texas. Do I always wish, pretty much with any player, that they're a little bit more freaky of an athlete? Sure, absolutely. But when you get good football players transcend big-time athletes more often than not. I think Mukuba is a very good football player. Mukuba was a top 10 safety in his recruiting class. Started out at Clemson. As a true freshman, was a freshman All-American, has 7 PBUs, was the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year. Then kind of up and down at Clemson, transferred to Texas last year for a one-and-done 69. Nice tackles, 4 TFLs, 11 PBUs, and 5 interceptions. This is a guy that has proven ball production. This is a guy that I think schematically will be in the right place at the right time. By all accounts, a highly intelligent football player, has played 50 career games, so he's coming in with that experience, and it is so pivotal in a Vic Fangio defense to nail the communication, making sure everyone is locked in on the same page, because they do a lot to confuse the opposing team's offense, and they must have raved about Mukuba's football IQ, that he's going to be able to come in, and maybe even, it feels anti-patriotic to be like, Vic probably isn't in love with Sidney Brown at the end of the day. I'd love to say Sidney Brown has a fast track to be a starter at safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, but fact of the matter is, maybe stylistically, it might not ever work out. And when you look at the production of Mukuba, when you look at his value in the run game, I think if you can get over the fact that he's not a prototypical big-bodied run defender, box-playing safety, 5'11", 186. But this is a guy that, from a coverage standpoint, NFL caliber. Run support standpoint, NFL caliber. Guy that has better play speed than running in short speed, absolutely. And I think he's a guy that, for that free safety spot, good compliment to what we have there. And, to be leaving the first 2 rounds, I still think at the end of the day, I'm a little frustrated that we weren't aggressive in trading up to get some of those other big targets. Mason Taylor was right there for the taking. Donovan Ezraku was right there for the taking. Other side of that is it seemed like a lot of teams knew the value of those picks, knew the pool of players that were available in the top half of the second round. And the teams are straight up having to give up their 3rd round pick and their 2nd round pick to move up to get those, premier selections. And maybe that was just too much for Howie Roseman to bite the bullet, even though we are getting those comp picks, those big comp picks next season. So it's going to balance out there a little bit. End of the day, for Mukuba, for the players that were available, 2nd on my board for the Philadelphia Eagles. Very happy with this selection, even though it probably does not mean great things for my boy Sidney Brown, still one of my guys in this year's draft. Very happy with it. And now we shift our focus to the third round. We'll be back live reacting to the Philadelphia Eagles pick there. Maybe we get a little aggressive. Maybe we trade up. Maybe we go get Braden Swinson. That'd be pretty awesome. But I'll see you guys back then. Thank you very much for watching. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Make sure you follow my second channel in the video description below, More C4. That is where I'm going to be posting my reactions to all of Philadelphia's day 3 picks. I think we have a 4th and 3/5. So we'll come hang out over there. But until that time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one. See you in the third round.